to today's class of Institute for Higher Consciousness. And I appreciate every last one of you that are here with us on this morning. This will be an open session, so I will allow people from Twitch to come into the class. They will be able to chat. However, they won't be able to talk as you all will. So please feel free to unmute your mic whenever appropriate, and go ahead and talk and share. I am recording, so let's get started. Today, I wanted to talk about divine birthing. Divine birthing. And I felt that it was appropriate for me to come here on today because we are in the process, even as we keep saying, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. I want you to also be in tune with the reality that as it's happening, then the earth and creation is groaning and birthing something. But this groaning is not the same groaning of travail of the how long before it happens. This is the actual birthing process. It's like you can have those false labor pains that jump in and take charge, and it's like, oh my God, I'm just absolutely positively in pain, but still no baby. I had a couple of friends that as they were coming to term, one in particular, I don't know how many times I ended up taking her to the hospital, but it was not the actual time for the delivery. But the day came when yes, it was in fact delivery time. And it was so funny because let me tell you, even in that situation where she kept having the false labor would happen. They'd hold her for X amount of time. And she was even dilating, but the baby didn't come. But that last time, I feel something. The thought ran through my mind. That last time she went in and they called me, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, is this it? Or is this another false labor? But suddenly, that's what ran through my mind. And suddenly, before I could even get there, that baby was here. And I want you to understand that is some of what's happening right now, whether you realize it or not. That's some of what is happening right now in the earth, where in all reality, the things that are getting ready to happen are going to be in suddenly. So this birthing right here, divine birthing, that I want to talk about is the portion of Good Morning One Reason. This is an open session, and welcome to Institute for Higher Consciousness. And I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome to you. Now, as we talk about divine birthing, the reason why I thought it was appropriate to come here on today was because some of you may be going through that process of, and I'm not even going to say some of you may be. Let me just go ahead and say, we are going through the process as it's happening. We keep saying that it's happening. We are going through the process of divine birthing. Now, I wanted to come here and I want you to, be clear on what I'm sharing here with that time of birthing. And for any of the mothers here that can recall, and probably some of the fathers here that remember your loved ones as they were birthing, this is a time where if you are able to recall, somebody's on, can I get somebody to go on mute? If you can recall a time when there was the season of birthing forth, before you got to that, do you remember when there was a space and place of where it seemed like your hormones were just going crazy? Your hormones were just off the chains, and you started feeling everything, and everything was very, very sensitive, and everything was very high level. And this is where I want us to understand. Some of you are going through some emotional spaces and places right now where spiritually and emotionally you're finding yourself really, really charged, really, really heightened in your alertness, really, really heightened in your emotions, really, really heightened in what's going on inside of you as you're walking out this day-to-day process. And it's like, man, what's going on with me? What is wrong? And it's not even necessarily that something is wrong. It's about this divine birthing that I want you to understand that we are in as we're walking this out. So you're going to begin to experience such a heightened level because those, as with the mother when she's about to birth, those, I say hormones are moaning. Those hormones that allows your body to go through the necessary changes to prepare for birth and bring that baby forth. Those are all in high gear. That's the time that they show up and they show out. They are the star of the show. The hormones that begin to prepare the body for the whole process. So I want us to understand as your spiritual hormones, if I can put it that way, if I can describe it in that way, when your hormones in the spirit realize that it's time for you to birth this thing forth. And again, it's happening. We're talking about divine birthing right now. Your spiritual hormones likewise are on high alert because they realize they are the center of attraction right now. They understand that it's necessary that right now in this process, right now in this cycle of life, it's time for them to do what they were created to do. That high alert is where you are spiritually. And so I wanted to talk about this again because I want you to be clear. It's not like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Oh my God, what's going on? You know, almost as if something is wrong. No, something is right. You're giving birth to something. Something is right. So with that, I wanted to address a few things, just as when that baby's head begins to crown and that labor, that pain, that travail gets so intense. Some of you can identify that the journey that you are on right now, that labor, that travail, that heightened state right now for you is so sensitive. And even if I come from this angle, if you stop and think about it, you know, that can be the time because everything is on such high alert and you're in that pain of travail. That can be the place where, listen, don't touch me because the sensitivity of my skin to your touch is just, oh my God, don't touch me. Don't look at me. Please turn the noise off. That sensitivity is so high with all of your senses, all of your all that smell. It's like during pregnancy, some of you all may have had that situation where you couldn't stand certain smells because that smell would just send you into orbit because your senses of your nose were so keen to fragrances and odors and aromas because all of those senses are on high alert. That's what I want you to understand about where we are in this spiritual divine birthing. So be prepared. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm going to keep underscoring that there's nothing wrong with you because sometimes it's like, oh man, you looking around and like, is it me? Is it just me? Is it just me? No, it's not just you. All of us that are in this space and place of birthing this divine thing that God has reserved for this hour, for such a time as this, we're all feeling that. So as we come into that place of understanding, when you push and the head comes out, when you push and the body comes out, when you push and evacuate that baby, there are lots of other things, that are evacuated also. It's not uncommon for there to be feces released and evacuated at that time. Fecal material may come out as well, because when you're pushing, you're just pushing everything out. So I want you to understand this. Why spiritual thought leader going here? Because I want you to understand that even as you're looking around in your present life, it may seem like you're evacuating some of everything, and some of it may be like, that ain't the baby. No, but it's coming out with the baby. You understand what I'm saying? That's not the baby, but at the end of the day, it's coming out with the baby, because as you push, everything that's in there is coming out, if that makes sense to you. So as you're in this space of divine birthing, don't be surprised if you look around and coming out with your baby and coming out of you. I'm not talking about coming out of somebody else. Coming out of you is fecal material. And you're like, oh my God, I thought I was here, but I'm way back there, because I'm looking and I see fecal material. I smell fecal material. That whole element involved and engaged with the delivery of your baby, if you don't understand it for what it is, can become very confusing. And so, yes, it's going to come out. It's going to be there, but understand that as the baby has been delivered, all of that is going to be washed away. There may have been some urine that came out. All of that's going to be washed away. Any kind of waste, all of that's going to be washed away. And then I also want to come here, that umbilical is going to also need to be cut, because the purpose that it served and the season for which it served that purpose is now over. Now, so what I want to really kind of underscore here is, as we are in this divine birthing process, there are going to be things that, again, are going to now become waste. But even that umbilical that has fed you and kept you alive will no longer be essential. Even that umbilical is going to be cut. And that cut, anytime you cut, you're going to have a bloody place. It's going to be a place of pain. It's going to be a point of needing to be healed. But at the end of the day, it's no more in your life. It's no more. And so as you go through this process and understand the divine birthing that's happening, sometimes we don't want to release that umbilical. Sometimes we're confused by the waste that's also evacuated with that baby. But it's all a part of the process. And that's what I wanted to really talk about today and provide some clarity. I want to provide so that you don't have this place of anxiety, worry, tension, fear. Am I going backwards? Am I missing it? Why am I so on edge? Why the edginess right now when I feel like I was at and I'm in my greatest place? I'm flowing in boss energy. Why is there now a tremendous challenge of brown stuff that's challenging me? Why is all of this waste all around me? Why is this fecal material and urine all around me? Stuff that I otherwise would not lie in, stuff that otherwise I would go and I would dispose of it in the toilet and it wouldn't touch me, it wouldn't bother me. Now I'm lying here in the middle of it. I'm in this place of lying here and it's lying right here with me. I want you to be clear on what's going on and don't be discouraged. Now, I said this, and I'm finding it more and more. As I said on today on my post, Instagram and Facebook, in my 21,000 plus days of life, what I know right now is that, behold, there's before me an open door and an open heaven. But as I know there's an open door and an open heaven, I also know that umbilicals are being cut. I also know that there are those that walked with me in my yesterdays and my todays that cannot walk with me into my tomorrow. Hear me when I say that. There are those that walked with me in my yesterdays and my todays that will not be walking with me into my tomorrow. And that part, even as we start talking about whether it's the cutting of the umbilical or if it's the release of the waste material, if it's the release of the fecal material and the urine that has cycled through your body, that has cycled through your system and has now become waste to you and needs to be evacuated out into the draught. That right there is what I want you to pay attention to. You won't, in many instances, have to do the separating. If you've ever really had to go, and I first natural, then spiritual. So it may be like spiritual thought leader, this story this morning and this direction that you're going with the Institute, do we really have to be as graphic and nasty? I want you to be clear and understand it. I want you to understand if you've ever had waste material that has cycled through your body and you keep trying to hold it and you keep trying to hold it and you keep trying to hold it, there's something about the body system that it will eventually expel it from your system, whether you want to expel it or not. You understand what I'm saying? You keep holding that urine is going to get to a point. That waste material is going to get to a point. It's coming out like, what did we say? Ready or not, here I come. You hold that fecal material as long as you can. Eventually, it will evacuate itself with or without your permission. This time in this season right here, some of the people, and I want to equate this to people, some of the things that have been a part of your process, some of the things that have been a part of your life, some of the things that have been a part of what you normally have had in your life, done during your life, all of a sudden that's going to be waste material to you. And understand in those instances, it's going to evacuate whether you want it to or not. Ready or not, here it comes. And it's going to come out in fecal material. It's going to come out in urine, and there you'll be lying in it. So that part right there are those that you're not even going to have to do anything. There are things that you're not going to have to do anything. It will just automatically evacuate from you. Then there is that process where you're going to have to cut the umbilical, because we're talking about divine birthing. You or someone, as a matter of fact, let me go here for just a moment, because I also want you to understand the power of spiritual doulas, the power of spiritual midwives. And I want to say this to some of you as you're listening to me and you're wondering, God, what is the next phase and journey of my life? You're going to, some of you, become spiritual doulas. Some of you are going to become spiritual midwives, if you understand what I'm saying. You're going to spiritually begin to help people deliver. You're going to begin to help people to birth. You're going to begin to have the position in that person's life that's struggling to bring life forth and birth what God gave them. You're going to be positioned to tell them when to push. You're going to be positioned to tell them when to breathe. You're going to be positioned to tell them when to hold it. Just try the best you can. Don't push right now. Don't push right now. You're going to be positioned to take the baby in your hands and put that baby's body, whether you're pulling out the head, whether you're taking the shoulders and adjusting the shoulders to get it through the birth canal. Some of you are going to find right now in this space, in this place, that God is positioning you to be able to be that spiritual doula and that spiritual midwife to those that are birthing forth. Now, even as I say that, let's be clear, just like I talked about the body evacuating when that birthing is happening, to my spiritual midwives and to my spiritual medullas, when you find yourself switching into that position, you are going to get some fecal material and you are going to get some urine on you, because when all of that is taking place and that you're helping to birth forth is pushing and comes out, the baby also comes out some fecal material and some urine. And so you as that midwife, you as that spiritual doula, that's where you're going to have to know how to handle the dirty stuff without becoming dirty yourself. Hear what I said. You're going to have to learn how to handle the dirty stuff without getting dirty yourself. So as you're standing there and this is where grace and mercy comes, and this is where grace and mercy comes from you as the midwife and you as the spiritual doula. You're not standing there judging the person that you're helping to birth because you see fecal material coming out. That's not your time to judge. You're not standing there judging because urine's coming out. Yes, that waste material is coming out, but you as the midwife and you as the medulla, or as the midwife and the doula, you have to understand and be very clear. My focus is the baby. My focus is that this baby shall be born healthy. This baby will not be aborted. This baby will not suck in and become contaminated and infected with all of the material that's coming out with the baby. So I'm going to know how to protect the baby and keep the baby from aspirating and sucking in and swallowing the fecal material and the urine that's coming out with it. I'm going to help to do that. I'm going to help to make sure the blood and the afterbirth. I'm going to make sure the placenta, because understand this, not only for the baby's purpose, but you need to get all the placenta out of the mother for the mother's well-being. You got to get the placenta and the afterbirth out so the mother doesn't get sick and diseased and die. I had a cousin who, as I understand, they did not get all of the placenta out, and then not many days hence, she was deceased. So we understand that all of this is a part of the birthing process. So again, as that doula, as that spiritual doula, as that spiritual midwife, you've got to pay attention. You've got to make sure, do I have all the pieces of the sack? And sometimes it may be a matter of taking the sack after it's been evacuated and even put the sack back together to make sure all of it's there and there's not a piece of it missing, and then dispose of it appropriately, because at that point, that sack that has been a life factor for that baby is now becoming waste. So you've got to understand the need of seasons to transition from something that was necessary to something that has now become waste. That umbilical, something that was necessary now to something that has become waste. Then again, as you're there, understand there has to be that agreement and understanding by yourself and the person that you've helped deliver. I've got to take this umbilical and take a sharp object, and I've got to cut you. I've got to cut you. I've got to cut the baby right here. I've got to cut it. And yes, the baby's going to scream. Yes, the baby's going to holler. Yes, the baby's going to feel pain. Yes, the mother may in fact sense and be squeamish and regret hearing, this is my baby, this is my child that I carried all of this time, and now you're getting ready to cut my baby. It must be done, because that umbilical no longer is healthy for that baby to stay on there. The purpose is over. The season has ended. It now becomes waste and it must be detached. So all of these things are going on. And then remember, the mother is still, we're still talking about hormones. The mother is still at a high level with hormones and everything else that the body has done to prepare it and go through the execution of that delivering. So now you still have that heightened sense of everything, but you have the blessing of the baby. And something about the blessing of the baby will allow you to forget so many things: the pain, the anguish, the emotions, the fear, the whatever that experience brought with it. Now, what you have before you is the beauty of this baby. What you have before you now is that you were, from the foundation of the world, designed to birth and bring forth. So as we understand it's happening, as we keep speaking, it's happening, we have to also stop and acknowledge in this divine birthing, it's happening. And with that comes the fecal material. With that comes the urine. With that comes the placenta. With that, any other afterbirth, any other fluids that were in that sac, all of the blood, all of the gore, all of that once was in your body system, it is now all evacuated out. And the only thing that's going to remain is the mother. And in this regard, there's no gender here because men are birthing in this hour too. So what remains is the mother and the baby and the doula or the midwife, and everything else is discarded. Everything else is discarded. So I'm sharing, I've found myself in a place where I'm thankful. I have a spiritual doula, a spiritual midwife that has been, and that's the thing about the midwife and the doula. They become very attentive to everything that's going on in that process. They become very attentive to everything so that if there's any emergency that's looming and lurking, they catch it. If there's anything that doesn't sound right, if there's anything that the mother in that time of delivery is expressing that would cause concern, that would be a signal that, hey, there's a problem here. This is not normal. This is not right. What do we need to do? How do we need to adjust? What needs to happen here? Because again, we shall not abort. It will not be stillborn. It will not be a stillbirth. It will come to fruition. It's going to come and be healthy. It's going to come and be provided for. For every vision comes a provision. It is going to accomplish that which God sent it forth to do without a doubt. So that being said, I'm going to begin to wrap this up because I think I'm coming to the end of my time before we need to reclaim the text. But I want you to be clear. We are definitely, as I understand, I'm under an open heaven, and behold, there's set before me an open door. This is the season and this is the time. It's happening. But I also want you to be clear on the fact that there's also going to be an evacuation of waste. And there's also going to be a shifting and a transition on what used to be versus what can now be, because all of that cannot come into your tomorrow. So I'm going to say that once more. And again, I'm going to open the floor to those of you all that are here in Discord. I appreciate those of you that have come on Twitch. Thank you for coming. This again is an open session. But I want you to understand the birthing that's going on right now. It's a divine birthing. There's a divine birthing on the land. It's not just us. And I was talking to someone on yesterday. I said, it's not just an isolated small handful of people. We have not all networked together yet, but that's coming. This movement that's on the earth right now, that's in the earth right now, this movement, you're going to begin to see there were pockets of it here, there were pockets of it there were pockets of it everywhere, but they may not be joined together at this point. But as the movement grows, those elements are going to begin to come together and bond together. And that's going to be the strength that's going to create the change that we want to see and the change that we want to be. As we're growing, as we're birthing, as we're bringing forth for this purpose, I was created, and we begin to walk in our created purposes with the babies that we are now carrying and nurturing, and they're going through the process of maturation. Yes, it may be a brand new baby right now, but we're taking care and nurturing it so that it can grow and it can be healthy and it can walk and talk on its own and eventually become a full-fledged adult that can make a change in this world. That's what we're doing right now. We're in that process, and eventually all of this is going to come together. So I just wanted to stop again because I felt it was time in this season to stop and address the divine birthing. It's a painful place. It's an emotionally heightened place. Those hormones are off the chain. Your senses are tremendously heightened. It can be a smelly, nasty place. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful place, because that's where the baby comes forth. And to all of you that will become spiritual doulas, to all of you that will become spiritual midwives, God bless you, because this is a powerful place to be. This is a powerful ministry to have. Don't take it lightly when God assigns to your hands to help other people deliver their babies. That is huge. So I want you to be clear. I want you to be committed. I want you to pay attention. That's one thing I do want to say. If you find yourself in that spiritual doula, in that spiritual midwife position, you cannot, I'm telling you, you cannot be willy-nilly and all over the board. You need to be alert. You need to be clear. Listen, that ain't no time to be in there sugarcoating nothing, baby. We trying to bring a baby into this world. And as they say, that place of birthing is as close as you can get to death. That place of birthing is as close as you can get to death. That's not the time to be trying to sugarcoat nothing and mamby-pamby and patty cake with nobody. Baby, it's serious business in there. It's serious business in there. So pay attention. Pay good attention to what you've been called to do and be committed to that. With that, I'm going to step back. I'm going to look at some of the chat. I want to, again, this is an open session of Institute for Higher Consciousness for everybody that has come in, for those that are in Twitch, for those that are in Discord. Thank you for being here. And for those, I see some folk in YouTube. Look like we got somebody on Facebook. My cousin, God bless you. Thank you for being here, Mildred. But I'm going to stop and I'm going to take some comments. Those of you that want to talk, in Discord, go ahead and unmute yourself and I will acknowledge you. But I definitely want to, this is where we're going to reclaim the text. I'm really anxious to hear how this is resonating in your spirit. Without a doubt, I felt this is what God wanted me to speak this morning. And I wanted to, we're still on anchoring the core. We're on the second power. We've gone past the foundations. We're in our intermediate level. And definitely, this is still in line with that. We were talking about mysticism and all of those elements, but this is still a part of, it's a mystery to us how we can birth something so powerful, how we can have something committed to our charge to birth into this land That is a mystery. But God has given that to you. Please believe me. God has given that to you, and you have the ability to bring it forth. If God did not believe that you could handle it, if God did not believe that you could birth it, if God did not believe that you could do it, he would not have given it to you. But God many times believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. And I want you to start to look in the mirror and see yourself as God sees you, not as you continue to see yourself. I want you to start looking at yourself through God's eyes. Even when you remember when the devil went before God and, God said, have you considered my servant Job? When Satan appeared to accuse the brethren, God said, so in that instance, God is testifying. Have you considered my servant Job? Job can handle this. While you want to accuse all the brethren, Job is the man. There are times I want you to understand with that, God is looking at you and saying, have you considered my servant, fill in the blank with your name? And God has faith in you because he knows that you have the ability to do what it is that he's assigned to your hands. Even when you're putting on the brakes, even when you are drawing back and saying, I don't think I can do that. God is saying, yes, you can. I just need you to birth it forth. Yes, you can. I just need you to bring it and allow it to come forth out of your loins. Yes, it's going to be painful. Is it going to be painful? Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be painful. Is it going to be messy? Yes, it's going to be messy. Might it even be smelly? Yes, it might be smelly, but you can do this. And then even after its birth, I promise you can bring it to maturity. So good morning to you, K2 Hoop. Come on in here. We're having an open session of Institute for Higher Consciousness. With that, I'm going to come over and I'm going to take a look. Let's see. You say even during your cycle every month, you feel the hormonal transition. Listen, right on time, y'all. There goes the alarm and we're right on the money. You feel the hormonal transitions in your body. Absolutely, Tall Pumps. You can feel the transitions of what is going on in a woman's body when those hormones are going through a change. A lot of times I tell parents, especially when they have their teens, young ladies that are in that hormonal time, y'all bouncing off the walls, but this baby is bouncing off the walls. Those hormones are going crazy. So give some grace, give some understanding, because listen, that even though you can't see it, even though, you see the effects of hormones. So that place right there is a place of grace. Am I saying letting them get away with bloody murder? No, but I do need you to understand hormones are a real thing. And when they are raging and they're in a certain place doing a certain thing, they need to be dealt with appropriately, but from the standpoint of understanding what those hormones are doing. The same, first natural, then spiritual. You need to understand when you're in these spaces, when you're in these places and phases, that spiritually you're hormonal. Spiritually, other people, if you're the midwife, if you're the doula in the spirit, understand that those that you're working with spiritually, they're hormonal. Take that natural and translate it over to the spirit and help you know how to help the person that you are serving, if that makes sense. Yes, it's true. When you gave birth to Fallon, fecal matter came out too, as well as the afterbirth. The placenta was some of the richest cells to pass. These were donated to other infants that needed those rich cells. That's powerful, Tall Pumps. Come on. Even your waste can bless somebody else. Y'all better, don't mess with me today. Don't mess with me today. Come on, Kai Chick. This is powerful. This is absolutely powerful. I'm going to come over and I'm going to read in what we have going on here in Twitch. Nathan Lamont, this is so on point for you, praise God. And I knew it would be. I know it would resonate with some people because God told me to speak it, because somebody that's here needs to hear this. You moved from KC 5 years ago. You have learned so much and have been in your zone. You are now back in Kansas City. 1 week turned into now a month, and you're assisting your mother with an illness. It's such a blessing to be here. I am making decisions on coming back because I see and know she needs you there at at that time in her life. She has cared for me, and now it's your time to care for her. Come on here. Come on. I love it. I love it, Nathan, the gift. And so much love and prayers going to you and your mother as you take this journey. But I'm telling you, this is so on point. This is so on point. Just take what you can from it and let it minister to you, and in turn minister to your mother. And I'm gonna stop. Anybody that wants to reclaim the text, I see unmuted two Tams, Sassy Cassie, two Tams. Did you have something you wanted to say, dear?
I want to say once again, this is so on time because I was, it was just a week of, I didn't get what was happening. There was a lot of painful, messy, smelly, yucky stuff coming out, but yet and still I could feel in my spirit that something good was happening. And now I have understanding of the mixed emotions, and I can get my balance back in order.
Yes.
My energy was affected by being out of balance. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. Thank you for the on time teaching one more time again. I'm done.
Thank you, two Tams. Thank you. And I'm telling you, what you described is absolutely correct, and it can be confusing. And that's why I wanted to speak to that, for the purpose of it not becoming a place and a state of confusion in your mind, because what you're birthing forth, it's still a beautiful thing, but understand it's a divine birthing that's happening, and let's put that in its proper context. And these are areas that a lot of times when we start talking about spirituality, we don't address these types of areas. We just make it black or white, all or nothing, this or that. But there are so many different things that come into play when you start talking about processes. What I described today in a birthing process makes sense when you look at the entire process, and not just I'm pregnant and then the next thing you know I got a baby. Well, no, there's something that happened between I'm pregnant and I got a baby, and that process, there are many things that happen in that process, and we need to be completely clear that the process is going to be the process, and we're going to walk through that process, so that regardless of what comes out during the birthing process, that we understand whether there's messy, smelly, dirty, nasty, and it's all running here together, lying together, laying together, bloody together on this table. At the end of the day, the focus is there's a brand new baby that's here, and that life is rich. And even as Tall Pump said, the placenta that now serves no need for what it was designed for when I carried it and my baby was inside of it. It can now that it's evacuated from my body, cells from that can be given to be rich for those others that need it. That's powerful right there, Tall Pumps. That's powerful. Thank you for that. I'm looking, Cassie, Sassy Cassie. I see you unmuted.
Morning, STL and everyone. This is such a great teaching to my spirit, to my natural self. I don't know how long the process should take, but I've been going through some hemorrhaging and different things, and have been discarded from my body for years. And it seemed to all this process started when I gave birth to my son almost 40 years ago. And I keep telling y'all, God is bringing me out of my 40-year wilderness with boss energy.
Come on.
And so, how you've spoken this morning, my joy bells are ringing because I know God is up to something, and I'm headed in the place that He wants me to be. And I just thank God for the teaching. I don't understand still all what I'm going through, but every time I would schedule a hysterectomy, some kind of way would get blocked. And like I say, from time to time, my body starts expelling things, and I don't know why. And but I'm still here, and God still has a purpose for me, and I'm grateful for you.
Come through, come through. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And one thing that I will tell you, as you walk this journey out, it will be made manifest. It will be made manifest. That I do know and that I do believe. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm looking at the chat, and anybody else, go ahead and unmute if you want to. I'm looking at the chat. Yes, and that process is painful in the physical and the spirit realm. I hear you, Mildred. I hear you. That process is painful in both the physical and the spiritual realm. So as you're experiencing that, so that we're clear, those times will come, those experiences will happen. But this, even when we start talking about God as a healer, when we understand that, again, whether it's the cutting of the umbilical cord, whether it's the stretching of the birthing canal, when you look and say that little bitty hole opened up and let that big old thing come out, the stretching of the birthing canal, if they had to cut you so that the birthing canal could stretch, all of those things, when you start talking about the cutting and the pain and the travail, that is pain. It's pain, and it's no point in trying to sugarcoat it with something else. That is painful. And thank you. I'm coming over.
Good
Truck
morning.
driver, I see you. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to say I enjoyed this what you shared with us this morning because now I can understand these different mood swings that I'm going through and everything. Like I said before, God had to take that majority of that feminine out of man so we wouldn't be so emotional. You know what I'm saying? But if truth be told, we don't give birth, but we go through mood swings. And now I understand the mood swings that I'm going through by this here with what you taught this morning. Because yes, I have been going through some stuff, and everything keep changing, this, that, and I'm angry one minute and I'm okay one minute and this and that. So now I understand I'm just going through my mood change, and I thank you for this lesson this morning. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, truck driver. And listen, I'm going to tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the hand of God is all over you, sir. And the days that lie ahead and the things that God has assigned to your hands to do and the lives that you're about to touch, I'm trying to tell you, sir. Eyes haven't seen, ears have not heard, and it hasn't even entered into your heart, sir. The good things that God has in store for you and the people and the lives that you're going to touch and change. Believe me when I tell you. And it's going to begin in your household, and it's going to expand from the household and go farther and reach greater than you ever dreamed or imagined. So please believe. I understand because the greatness that's inside of you and about what you are birthing. I'm telling you. But it's mighty. You're a mighty man of God, and what God is doing in you is a mighty work.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
You too, sir. You too. Bless you. Anybody else? Go ahead and unmute over there. Go ahead and unmute. Tall Pumps, I see you typing. Let me come over and look and see. Confirmation. Praise God, Bunny. Praise God, Mildred. I'm telling you, I try to really stay in a place of spiritual connection and direction with the Institute. This is definitely what God dropped in my spirit, was needed for the moment, and to open it up and make it an open session. And so I'm glad that it was open, Mildred, if just for you to come in and get that confirmation. Praise God. But that is definitely the direction and the word that the Lord gave me for this morning. And so praise God for that. Tall Pumps, were you typing something there? I see you typing. I'm a hold on for just a second. And anybody that wants to chat or share in Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you might be accessing, go right ahead and I'll try to give you enough time. Okay, somebody's off. Somebody's out. Who is this? Sassy Cassie, go right ahead.
Have a part B. It's so interesting that I feel like I begin to take steps to, I would say, cut umbilical cords that for people I no longer need. Is like, and God has me studying in the book of Joshua for those that are scriptural, and it's like He's laying my Moses to rest, and He's my Joshua ready to take me possess the land.
Oh, that's a
And I
word.
just wanted to say that.
That's a whole word. That some of you need to lay your Moseses to rest. Some of you, that was a word. That was a word. I could go so many places with that. But that, I just want that word to stand just the way she delivered it. Some of you, some of us need to lay Moses to rest. I just want that to marinate just for a second. Some of us need to lay Moses to rest. That's rich. That's rich. And yes, Joshua, you are the man of this hour. Go forth. And so I'm saying to you, they need to see you. You hear me saying that in Yes You O Cubed. I'm saying it again here in the Institute. They need to see you. They need to see you. And some of you need to go ahead and come on here, Dalen 628. Good to see you, sis. Some of you need to let Moses go on to sleep and come forth in what God has called you to do, because the era, the season, the time, the move of Moses has ended, and God is ready to take you out of Egypt, out of the wilderness, out of wandering around into the promised land. There's a whole word right there. Thank you for part 2, Cassie. I'm so glad you didn't leave that off, girl. I'm so glad you didn't leave that out, because we needed to hear that. It's a whole word. That's a whole word, Dalen. It's a word. That's a whole word. Thank you. You guys are so awesome. Tall Pumps, I'm going to read what you said. Yes, and I want to specifically say that stem cells from the umbilical cord is the lifeline for the baby. Pardon me for not being fully medically correct with your association. No problem. But those rich stem cells, you mean between the umbilical and the placenta. That's all good. Ain't nobody holding that against you, sis. I understood the gist and the point of what you're saying. But those rich stem cells are connections for the life of the child, mother, and others when utilized in that way. This also connects with the elements of plasma, which we understand to be necessary for our boss energy to be aligned. Come through with that, sis. Come through with that. Thank you so much for that. Good word, good rich word here. I appreciate every time y'all reclaim the text. It just gets better. As somebody used to say, gooder and gooder. It just gets better and better. Thank you. Anybody else? I don't want to cut anybody off. Y'all know how we do it. It's reclaiming the text. Whatever you'd like to share, questions that you might have, this is your time to do it. Crystal Method, good morning to you. So glad that you're here. We're having an open session and just wrapping up here our open session of Institute. It's been a great session, you all. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate those of you. I see you. Let me stop and acknowledge those that are out here. Crystal Method, thank you and good morning. Dalen 628, good morning to you, sis. Coming on up, and I see you, Mildred Slaughter. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. The Gift, Nathan Lamont, and we're saying your mother, Denise. We are praying for your mother, Denise, that God do exceedingly abundantly above all we could ask or think, according to the power that's working in us. K2 Hoop. Thank you for being here. Blessings to you. I see you, BTD Mom. Shelly Thunder, good morning to you, sis. Rebel, of course, you're always there. And there's my Archbishop, One Reason. Thank you for coming in this morning into the open session of the Institute. And I'm thinking, yes, I think that's everybody that's actually in the chat, and others that might be out there auditing, because I see a greater number than these. But thank you for auditing, even if you're not saying anything. John Studios, good morning to you, sweetheart. So good. Now, this is the angel of Twitch, y'all. He's the angel of Twitch. Thank you for jumping in to this open session of the Institute. With that, Kai Chick, I see you.
Hi. I just want to say that this message is really powerful because I struggle with allowing toxic people in my life. And because I had a lot of loss early in my life. And this is helping me to recognize my value and to be more selective of those I allow around me. And it's really hard when it comes to family members, and but if they're going to like try to take down or interfere with my boss energy, then I have to put more boundaries. I can love them with boundaries. But if anything that your classes have taught me is to recognize my own value if other even if other people don't see it.
Yes, yes, yes. And you are powerful, my dear. There's just no, I just don't know how to impress and stress that enough to you. You are powerful. And even as you're able to identify the core, many times that's where it all begins. And as you deal and process and resolve from that point and perspective of clarity, what is at the root, and begin to deal with the root and begin to handle the root with that same clarity that you're walking in as to who you are, your boss energy, your power, your value, the richness of the calling that God has in you, on your life, as you begin to really reconcile all of that and bring that into, and I heard that word balance, bring it into that place of balance and clarity. And some of that, I'm telling you, it's going to be the fecal material. It's going to be the urine that's going to need to be evacuated and eventually disposed of in its entirety. It may lie there with you, the baby, and your spiritual doula, your spiritual midwife. All of y'all might be standing at the table together, but at some point, sometime, that waste material has to be disposed of. At some point, sometime, that waste material. And when I say that, I'm not necessarily talking about specifically people, and sometimes it may be specifically people, but I'm talking about whatever the attitudes, whatever the mindsets, whatever the holds, the manipulations, the whatever it is that's being used to push those buttons, that's going to have to be completely disposed of. And it's a process. That too is a process. So you get no judgment from me. You've come a long, what's that commercial say? You come a long way, baby. You've come a long way, and I'm proud of you. I want you to know just how proud I am of you. You're doing a good work, and you can't come down. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Good morning, Grace Softly. Come on in here, and welcome to this open session of the Institute. And we're preparing ourselves to close up and wrap it up. Tall Pumps, I see you typing. Anybody else in the chat that wants to say something? I'm taking from both sides. Discord, you know, you have the ability if you'd like to unmute yourself and say something, but Tall Pumps, I do see you typing. If you're unable to talk in Discord and you want to type it out in the chat in Discord, you're definitely welcome to do that as well. So I'm gonna let Tall Pumps finish typing what she's typed. So to go back. Grace Softly, yes. We're from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. We're at 11:01. Actually, it's a 75-minute course. We're officially out of here at 11:15. But we have the end of the session where we have what's called reclaiming the text, where whatever the teaching was, we go back and the students and those that heard it just share, ask questions. And today, listen, you come a long way, baby. It was an old cigarette commercial. Yeah, I'm showing my age. Tall pumps, I'm showing my age. But this is the reclaiming the text portion, and we're having just a beautiful conversation here. You're showing your age too. Yes, Kachik, that's funny. Well, again, I'm so grateful for everybody that has joined us on today. I hope this teaching has been good for you. It's recorded. And so this will be a bonus track that I will put into the Institute. It's a bonus track for anybody that wants to hear it. You can get it in replay, and I will go back and do a post edit to it as well and condense it down. But again, thank everyone that came in this morning. This is going to bring us, I want to make one more cruise and look over here. Anybody else that wants to say something in Discord, just go ahead and unmute yourself so I can acknowledge you. Otherwise, we're going to get ready to dismiss from this place. Anybody? Okay, it looks like we're good. So much love to everybody. And to those of you that came in. Oh, thank you for the birthday wishes, Grace Softly. I appreciate you. Yesterday was a beautiful day, and today is even better because you know what? I'm telling you, last night the Lord spoke to me. Behold, I've set before you an open door and an open heaven. Receive it. And I do. And I want to speak that word to each of you. And I'm going to close with the thought that we started with. Everyone that walked with you on yesterday and today, many of them will not be able to walk into your tomorrow. Everyone that walked with you in your yesterday and today, many of them will not be able to walk with you in your tomorrow. So be free to release it and let it go. I love you guys. Come on, Shelly Thunder. There you go. Everyone have the rest of this weekend. Have and enjoy on purpose. I love you guys. So much love to you, and you are released. So much love to you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Have a great day.